Hi YouTube. As I'm sure many of you know, I've been labeled as a 4Kids hater. And while it's true that I'm not exactly the biggest fan, I figure now would be as good a time as any to give a list of things that I actually like about them. I will be counting down my top 5 in no particular order list of the things I actually liked about 4Kids entertainment. And if you're wondering why it's such a short list, I was gonna go with 10, but admittingly I can't think of 10 things I actually like about these guys. But anyway, here are 5 things that I actually liked about 4Kids. First off, number 5. They did in fact bring anime to America. This is an argument that just about every former staff member at 4Kids has used. They'll say, yeah, we know that 4Kids isn't well liked, but you gotta admit, 4Kids did make anime popular over here, which is what led to better dubs happening later on. So yeah, here's my acknowledgement of it. Thank you, 4Kids, for bringing anime to America. You did in fact do this, and if it wasn't for you, anime would probably be a little bit behind. Now granted, there is the possibility it still would have come over. I mean, Dragon Ball Z was pretty popular. But generally speaking, if it wasn't for Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh!, we probably wouldn't have nearly as big of an anime market here. So, I will give them this one. They did indeed bring anime to America. Now, number 4. Dan Green and Sean Schemmel. And maybe a few other voice actors, but these two especially. Fact is, while I know that I have been harsh about Dan Green's Yugi performance, I will admit it. He's a great voice actor, and he's very talented. And truth be told, other than Yugi, he's generally pretty good with his roles. In truth, most of the dubs that he's been in, even the 4Kids dub of One Piece, having him in it was considered by some to be one of the few good things they had going. Granted, Funimation did better, but I will still say that Dan Green is a good voice actor. Same thing goes for Sean Schemmel, who I also think is a great voice actor, even though 4Kids does often miscast him, most notably giving him the lead role in Pokemon Chronicles, which was a terrible idea, but other than that, it should be noted, Sean is generally a really good voice actor. Although I do admit that the best role of his by far is Goku, which of course is Funimation, but even so, fact is, Sean Schemmel and Dan Green are definitely a big part of what actually makes 4Kids dubs tolerable, to an extent. And no, I'm not gonna give the other voice actors any credit, and before you go asking why I can't give Eric Stewart any credit, fact is, he's an asshole. And if you don't believe me, just try looking up and him saying any Yukio Bridge quotes. He refuses. His reason why? He thinks he's funnier than Lil Kuribo. Yes, that is actually true. Look it up. So anyway, without further ado, number 3. The parodies that have been inspired by 4Kids. Whether it's Underbelly's video known as 4Kids is for Idiots, all the various fan art making fun of them, or any time that there's even the slightest joke made about 4Kids. Fact is, 4Kids is what inspired all these jokes. Everything ranging from that silly picture of the no smoking sign with a lollipop over it, to various fan videos. Fact is, all these things and many more were inspired because of 4Kids and their horrible dubbing. So in all truth, if it wasn't for that, there wouldn't be any of this great comedy. And speaking of comedy, let's get down to number 2, which is Yu-Gi-Oh! The Abridged series, because this deserves its own category. Fact is that in the Abridged series, 4Kids is a frequent butt of many of Lil Kuribo's jokes. And the fact is, I can tell you right now, if it wasn't for 4Kids dubbing Yu-Gi-Oh!, I guarantee you that Yu-Gi-Oh! Bridge might not have even existed, and if it did, it would be a very different series from what we got. And the fact is, this was all made possible because of 4Kids. In fact, and truth be told, Yu-Gi-Oh! Bridged was what started the whole abridged genre, and from there we got Naruto Abridged, Yu Yu Hakusho Abridged, and, most famously, Dragon Ball Z Abridged, and many other failed attempts at abridged series. And the fact is, this entire genre started because of Yukio Bridge. And Yukio Bridge started because of 4Kids, so in a way, you could say that if it wasn't for 4Kids, the entire concept of a Bridge series would never have happened. And to that, I have to give them a salute. And now, for the number one thing that I like about 4Kids. Uniting the One Piece fans. Now, right off the bat, we all know that the One Piece dub was a disaster. No one is willing to defend it. Generally, if you ask anyone that used to work for 4Kids, they get pretty defensive when you bring it up to them. And many of them even get embarrassed. Well, except for Tom Wayland, he seems to be proud of it, but most other staff members that have a soul tend to get pretty iffy when you bring up the One Piece dub, either denying any involvement in it or getting very apologetic and defensive. But there is one good thing that did come from this horrible dub, and that's the fact that because of this, it united the entire fandom to realize that this needs to change. And let's face it, if this had never happened and Funimation got it right from the start, there's no telling how the fandom would be these days. I mean, have you seen how the Naruto fans act, especially when handling the dub? Because honestly, they have got to be the most ungrateful fans I've ever seen, to a point where they will downright criticize the English dub for getting things wrong when they actually got it right. I'm not even kidding here. And the truth is, I think that if it wasn't for 4Kids, the anime fans of One Piece would probably be a little bit less grateful for what we get now. But because of the fact that 4Kids ruined it so violently, the fact is, now that we have Funimation saving the show, it caused the fans to really appreciate the new dub, and as a result, I think that was all because of 4Kids and their ruining. So, with all this in mind, I want to make it clear, I don't hate 4Kids. I love to hate them. Fact is, I'm glad that they existed at one point, and I'm even glad that One Piece happened. In truth, if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have all these great things that have come from them. And in truth, I honestly have to give them my applause to that. Thank you, 4Kids, for all your efforts, and please do us all a favor and never come back.